Hello and welcome to the online classes of Computer Science with Python. This is Renuka and today we are with the next session of functions. So as we studied in the previous sections about the functions and what are the parameters and arguments, how we call a function and how we define a function. And objectives of this session are that what are the various types of arguments. So arguments we study as they are the value that is passed to the function when it is called. There are two types of portion in a function, that is function calling and function definition, and the values that is passed to the function when it is called, they are known as arguments. So various types of arguments we are going to discuss in this session, that positional arguments, default arguments, keyword arguments, variable length arguments, and after that we will discuss about the scope of variable, that what is the lifetime of a variable. So moving to our first type, that is positional argument. So positional argument are regular arguments, and as we discussed in the example of function calling in our previous video, so they are positional arguments, means the values are given in a proper sequence as they are defined in the function definition. For example, in this example, the add function are having a and b in the brackets as parameters. So 2 and 3, 2 value will be for a and 3 will be for b. So that is positional arguments, means according to position the values are given. If the count of actual arguments and formal arguments do not match, then there will be a type error. For example, I am saying only 2. I am calling add function with a value 2. In that case, it will display a error. So next type comes, they are default arguments. So default arguments is an argument that assumes a default value. If a value is not provided in the function call for that argument, in that case we provide the default values. So what basically default values are? Suppose in a company there are employees and they are getting a salary, but the company says that the minimum or the default salary of an employee will be 5,000. So if an employee is getting salary 8,000, then okay, 10,000 okay. If his or her salary is not mentioned, in that case by default it will be 5,000. So that is what default. So here in default function, some function definition, we are taking two parameters a and b, and by default the values are 5 and 7. After taking these values, some total of these values is stored in s and s is printed. Now if we call the function with 56, 50, now we will see what will happen. So to see the results, we will move to Python prompt. So Python prompt, and we will start with the program. So here we will open a new window and we will start with the program. So our program says definition sum, and in brackets we are mentioning two parameters. We have to write whole in small letters because Python is case sensitive, so we have to mention everything in small letters. A is equal to 4, comma b is equal to 6. Suppose we are taking these as default values, and then s is equal to a plus b, and then print s sum equals to s. So, okay, after this we are calling this sum function. Now suppose we are calling this sum function with two different values like 34 and 56. Now we'll save this with any name you want to save. So we are saving with the sum 2.py. Give the extension py and then execute. So it is giving, the result is 90. So why the result is 90 when we have given the values a and b as 4 and 6? So because while calling we have given the values 34 and 56. So 34 is for a and 56 is for b. So in that case the total is 90. Then what is the use for giving values a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 6? So suppose we say we are calling some function without any values. So save, we are deleting this, and we are calling some function without any values. So now run, and the result is 10. Means if we are not giving any values, it is taking a as 4 and b as 6, and the result is 10. Now we make few changes. If we take one value and the value is argument is 8, in that case what will be the output? So let's see, the output is 14. Why 14? Because the first value, the first argument will be taken for a, so a is equal to 4 will be replaced and a will now have 8, because it is not, it will replace the default argument here. So a will be now 4 and b is 6. So in this case b is 6, so result is 14. So this is how we can use default arguments. Moving to next. So next is, okay, before moving to next, we'll say if we pass the arguments like this, a comma b is equal to 10. This is some function with parameters a comma b is equal to 10. B is having default value 10. So if we pass, like first value we are passing the value, and for second we are not giving any value, in that case it will be invalid. So this will be invalid, because if we are passing default argument to a function, then we should not take non-default arguments. Non-default arguments we should not take, otherwise it will generate error. Next are keyword or named arguments. Keyword or named arguments means why they are needed. Suppose there is a function with many parameters and we don't need at the time of calling all the parameters. We don't need to give values for all the parameters. In that case we can use names instead of their position, so that it would be easy for the function to check which value we have given. So that is, they are known as named arguments or keyword arguments. For example, here definition show a comma b is equal to 6, c is equal to 10. So we have three parameters a, b and c, but b and c are having default values, that is 6 and 10. Now at the time of calling, what we are doing at the time of calling, we are just giving the value of c is equal to 20. C is equal to 20. So C was initially 10, so it will be overwritten as 20. Default value, it won't accept the default value, but the value of C will become 20. A will be 8, and as we are not giving any value for B, so that will remain 6. So what should be the output? A is 8, B is 6 and C is 20. So this should be the output. So this is how keyword arguments work. Keyword arguments means if we have many parameters and we don't want to mention the arguments for each parameter, in that case we use keyword arguments or named arguments. Whatever value we want to give to which parameter, only that name we can mention, and order or sequence is also not mandatory. You can write anyway likewise. Then next is advantages of using keyword arguments. So what are the advantages? So we need not to worry about the order of the arguments, as we have seen that first we are defining C and then we are defining A. A is equal to 8. So no need for order or sequence, and second, we can give values to only those parameters which we want. So no need to give values for all the parameters. We are having A, B and C parameters, but we are giving values for A and C. So this is the advantage of using keyword arguments. Next type of arguments are variable length arguments. So what are variable length arguments? As the name suggests, if there are situations where we want a function to handle number of arguments according to our requirement, not according to the parameters given in function definition, according to the requirement. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or no parameter, 0 parameter. So in that case we can use variable length arguments. So variable length arguments means we need to give any number of parameters we want. So in that case we use asterisk symbol in Python. So asterisk symbol, how we use? So definition, sum in the bracket asterisk n, and suppose we want to print the sum total of all the values which are given at the time of function calling. So we have taken one variable, total is equal to 0. Then for I in n, so whatever values n is having, 1, 2 or 0, so a loop will execute for those values. It will take first value, total, 0 plus first value, then it will go up, it will take second value, initial total plus new value, and likewise. And after that, in the end, it will print the result. Now we will understand, suppose we are calling sum without any value. So here in n there will be 0, no value. So in that case total is equal to 0. I in n is empty. So in that case total is equal to total plus I, no use. So total will remain 0 and the answer will be 0. Now for second, sum 20, it will go here and total is equal to 0 for I in 20. N is having only 20, so I in 20, total plus I, total was 0, 0 plus I, 0 plus 20 is 20. So in this case the result will be 20, because after that when it will go up, I in n is having no other value, it was having only 20. So this is how we can call variable length arguments. But for this function where we are passing 4 values, 10, 20, 30 and 40, all these will be shifted here. Now n is type of a list which is having 10, 20, 30 and 40. So n is having what type of values? 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now the total is 0, so loop will start from for I in n. So I in n, it will take first value, that is 10, total plus 10 means 0 plus 10, it will be 10. Again go up, I in n, next value 20. So 10, initially total was 10, 10 plus 20, 30. Again go up, I in n, it will take 30. 30 plus initial total was 30, 60. Again go up, I is 40. So 60 plus 40 is 100. Again go up, I in n, no other value is there. So in that case sum will be printed 100. So in this case the result will be 100. So this is how variable length arguments work. So means any number of values or any number of arguments we can pass to the function definition according to our requirement. So these are the type of arguments. So 4 types of arguments we discussed. So moving back, we will just revise once again that what are the types of arguments. So first we discussed about positional arguments, means these arguments are very much similar as we do in simple function calling. So they are passed according to the correct positions. So if first value is for A and always second value is for B, So next was default arguments. If we want to miss any value or unknowingly we miss any value, in that case some default value is there and that can be taken for calculations. Third was keyword values. Keyword values means we have to mention the name of the arguments, and in this no sequence matters. And last was variable length arguments, means any number of arguments we can pass according to our requirement. Moving to our next topic, that is scope of a variable. So scope of variable in Python is that part of the code where the variable is visible. Like variable is visible in one block or complete program, that depends upon the declaration of variable, where we are declaring the variable. So on the basis of scope of variable, so variables are of two types, local variables and global variables. Local variables. A variable declared inside the function body or in the local scope is known as local variable. So if we are declaring a variable in a definition, suppose here, so the scope of that variable is inside this definition. That variable cannot be used outside the definition, so that is known as local variable. So for example, here in some definition there are two variables x and y, so lifetime of these x and y are in this definition only. So if we are using this print statement, print x, means x we are using out of this definition, so that is not possible because the lifetime of x was in till this function. So lifetime was till this function and x cannot be used outside this function, so it is invalid statement. Next are global variables. Global variables means a variable which is declared outside the body of function. So that type of variable is globally available, or it is we can say it is available inside the function and outside the function or in complete program. So such type of variables which are available throughout the program are known as global variable, but the condition is they should be declared outside the function. For example, z here is declared outside the function, so z is global variable. It can be used in the function and it can be used outside the function. So that means z can be used all throughout the program. So z is global variable here. A global variable, for example, here the value of z will be printed 10 and here also 10. If we want to change the value of global variable, we can also change the value of global variable. Suppose we are saying z is equal to 10 and we are calling global z. So here this global z we are making z is equal to 9. Now this 9 is actually changed here only. At the memory location part it is changed in z only. Now z is pointing to 9, not to 10. So after that if we print z, it will show us 9. So that means if we want to change the value, global value in a function, then we have to use a keyword that is global. So global z and then z is equal to 9. That means now z is containing value 9 throughout the program, not 10. 10 is overwritten, now it is 9. So this is how global variables work, means they are declared outside the function and can be used anywhere in the program, inside any function or outside any function. So this is what local variable and global variable means. Local means that are available locally to a function, and global means they are available throughout the function. So now there is a practice assignment for you. There are 2 questions and you have to submit the output of these 2 questions. It's multiple choice question. And thank you very much. Please do like and share, subscribe the channel, and wait for the next video of functions.